This is the Wealthy Wednesday Show with your host, Lucy McMonagle, a money manifestor, coach, and public speaker who's on a mission to helping you create more wealth in your life and business. This show will inspire and empower you with various topics and has expert guests. Let's welcome your host, Lucy McMonagle.
Welcome to the Wealthy Wednesday Show. This is your host, Lucy McMonagle, and I am so honored and blessed to have Morgana Rae on the show today. She is the #1 bestseller author of Financial Alchemy, 12 Months of Magic and Manifestation. She is a sought-after teacher, a speaker, and a pioneer in personal development. She is widely regarded to be the world's leading relationship with money coach. Morgana's groundbreaking program for creating wealth has featured her on ABC, NBC, Fox, Yahoo Finance, and the Wall Street Journal Online. She wrote the Life Magic column for Natural Woman's magazine and was named the top woman in e-commerce by the We magazine. She's been featured with many experts, and her books, recordings, magazines, and articles, along with her fabulous classes and retreats, have impacted the lives of hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. Morgana writes, she speaks, and she coaches from a desire to empower idealistic entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and artists to have a big impact on the world and to heal the rift between the heart, the spirit, and money. Let's give a warm welcome to Morgana. Welcome to the show, Morgana.
Thank you so much.
You are so incredible. You have created incredible retreats in Bali, and your last one was phenomenal because you did something a little bit special at this retreat where you focused on love, if I believe I was correct.
Yeah.
And then you had such a magical experience towards the end when you seen your healer. Could you tell us a little bit about how you empower these beautiful women so that they can heal their heart, their spirit, and their money?
Well, I've been coaching for over 20 years now, and one thing that I've seen from experience is the #1 excuse human beings give for what they can't have, do, or be is money. Money is like the big boogeyman, and we think we want it, but it's such an area of pain, and it reflects our deepest core issues around our worthiness, our deservingness, our lovability when we go really deep, and then at the deepest level, our very right to exist. So money is just a very sticky topic, which is the ideal pain door for somebody like me with, who really is interested in spiritual coaching and life coaching. But I've also been a business coach for 20 years. So Bali came about surprisingly and organically, where I have all these peers, all these colleagues, all these friends in the personal development industry, and they are doing their thing with like big, complicated, kind of aggressive online launches and big, complicated, kind of aggressive, big stage events. And that's not fun for me. It just, so while everybody else is doing their thing, I'm off in my witchy corner doing my thing, which really more and more over the years, because I have coached many thousands of people over this period of time. But over the last several years, I've really been shifting to working with fewer people more intimately so that I can give them everything instead of trying to spread myself too thin. And also really following my pleasure and my intuition and what is going to have the biggest impact on other people. So Bali arose accidentally when I went to Bali in 2011, and I remember walking down the street towards the end of my trip thinking, I am fatter than every woman here, and yet I have never felt so beautiful in all my life, and I want every woman to feel this way. And I was prepping for a live event back in Los Angeles. I was not supposed to be taking off for a date in Bali 2 months before my LA event. So I'm in Bali just shooting videos going, hi, it's Morgana, living a money goddess life. Join me in LA. And I head back to LA and I'm still in this glow. And I do my live event and I'm thinking I need to offer some kind of continuing education. And I really didn't want to do the mastermind model. I didn't want to commit myself to a year. I didn't want to charge what was necessary to make it worthwhile. I just really didn't want to do it. I just wanted to take a bunch of women to Bali and dive super deep with them. And so I got on the stage and I just said, I don't want to do a mastermind. Let's go to Bali. And I filled up my first retreat back in 2011. And the one I just came back from last month was my fifth. And then the craziest thing happened was a week after, and I'll answer your question. I'm a storyteller. I apologize. A week after I got back from Bali, which was, you know, it just keeps getting better and better. And this was the best. And I get back and a week later, I'm flying to Sun Valley, Idaho, where I've never been before. And I'm speaking on stages with Marianne Williamson and Jewel and MC Yogi and David Weider, the other speakers. And the woman who was running the festival went with me to Bali 3 years ago. And it changed her life so dramatically. I kept meeting people who knew me, who I had never met or heard of, who were going, oh my God, you had such an impact on Perry's life. And then I found out that I got the rest of the story. I hadn't talked to her in a couple of years. And I know she had set up a situation where she was making a lot of money after she got home from Bali on my ultimate money goddess retreat. But she actually has made many, many millions of dollars that I didn't know about until she was on stage introducing me and telling the full story. And it's like, whoa. But it's not just that. So anyway, so I led this. I was speaking in Sun Valley and Perry wants to go back with me in November. So I'm going to go back in November and do a second time, even though I usually don't do that. And then all these other people from Sun Valley wanted to go too, and people from other parts of the world. So answering your question, I did it because that was really how, you know, where my heart and my intuition and my joy was leading. And so, instead of trying to fit into other people's projects and programs where I have a really great talent in being able to implement exactly what I'm told to do and get really no results. So I have to be more, I have to forge my own way and do what works for me and my clients, which for me is very organic. Sometimes it's scary because I don't know what's coming next and I just need to have faith and I need to talk to my relationship with money. But okay, so to answer your question about the most recent Money Goddess retreat, a couple of things were different. I could feel it before we met. I even remember emailing my assistant saying there's something different about this group. I'm feeling that there's real power here. And just like it had shifted out of what I call the scarcity niche into a legacy niche, where more and more I'm attracting women who are already making. And I've always had some clients who are making multiple 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 figures, but mostly I've been mentoring people who are building their way up, or I've created a lot of self-study programs for people who are earlier on the economic journey. But this group just had a feeling of power to it, and they were really easy to coach, even though they went as deep as everybody I've ever coached. And then, but here's something else that was different was I brought my husband. Because the last time I'd been to Bali 2 years ago, I took last year off, he proposed marriage to me over Skype. And so we've been so far married 17 times in 13 countries, and we're shooting for 100. Because I had told the universe I wanted to travel the world with the love of my life, and the universe over-delivered. So beginning this year's retreat with the context of inviting them to my 17th wedding, and knowing that a lot of them were there because not only did they want to break through their money ceiling, but they wanted to break through their love ceiling too, and they go together.
Yes.
There are people who have really mastered the love thing, and their love relationships are wonderful, and the money piece is like the holdout. But even for them, even if they have great love in their human relationships, if the money piece is an area of anxiety or limitation, that's a love issue again. And that relationship with money needs to be transformed, and it's not your fault. It is not your fault, and you have very, very good reasons to protect yourself from money, which need to be made conscious so we can do something about it and change that relationship deliberately. So back to this retreat. So what I got from the group was when I told them how before I met my husband, I actually slayed my love monster the way I teach people to slay their money monsters. Is like, what? A lot of people were very interested. So when I was coaching them, less often, instead of always making it about money and always about their money monster, I would say love monster or life monster when it felt appropriate. Whatever was necessary, because honestly, it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I called it a life monster or a love monster, these women are going on to make more money than any group I've ever seen before. And it felt really nice for me to kind of come out of the closet, the magical closet, a little bit more than I have in years past, where when strangers would ask me in Bali, what do? I would just say I'm a spiritual teacher, which is probably more honest than saying I'm a money coach. But the media likes to call me a money coach, and it's a great pain door for the real deep work that I really love to do. And my clients show the numbers, like Carolyn Coneth, $86,000 in 12 hours. Elliot Malik, $87,000 in 6 hours. I won't name the numbers for Perry. Even though she said it publicly, I'm still not very comfortable with like outing her until I have it in writing. So I have lots and lots of success stories that come in every day, and the numbers are useful for marketing. But the work about wealth is really deeper than just cash. I've known many, many, many cash-rich people who are living in such fear and such loneliness and such lack that it's just a very high level of poverty. So wherever you are on your journey now, you want to have a really great relationship with money so that you can always bring in more and keep it and not have drama. And before I talk about the healer, something that is just like, what do they call it, like a bee in my bonnet, or something that's just like, I got an email last night that showed me that a friend who is reinventing herself again has just come out with her prosperity program. And what bugs me is that she's been in financial crisis the whole time that I've known her for many, many years. You know, up and down, up and down, up and down, lots of drama. And the good thing that came out of seeing that, because it just felt a little off to me, that, you know, selling financial security when, look, honey, I know you. But it made me think, my relationship with money is what I would call blissfully boring. And I never thought about it before, but it's really not dramatic. I make a lot of money. I make multiple six figures every year. Do I have friends who make more than that? Yeah. In fact, I've coached a bunch of them. And what people don't see behind the scenes of the big stage and the big launches is, while the gross income may be really, really big, the take home is not that big. In fact, sometimes it's negative. I have one friend who made $900,000 in sales on stage and still left the event $200,000 in the red.
Wow.
So while my numbers may not be as dramatic in, you know, as some of my friends, my take home has always been really, really, since, not always, but since I've been on this path, I have had no debt. I pay for everything I want. Money has never been the obstacle. And it's not been going like this. It's just been going like this, where a bad month is better than a good year used to be. But it doesn't have like you know, those romantic, dramatic relationships where you break up and you get back. No, it just isn't like that. Mm-hmm. So about the healer, this was the really fun thing, this last Bali. There's this ancient Balinese, very traditional healer from the royal family who I first discovered in 2012. And as a treat, and it was a secret, I guess it's not anymore, I would take my women on the final day of my retreat after all the heavy lifting, after all the hard work is over. Mm-hmm. And as part of the celebration of the final day, I take them to my healer because I just think he's really neat. And it's such a unique experience that they won't get anywhere else. That's my husband walking by. And he, like, you know, pokes and prods the head, and he takes a stick and pokes the toes. And when he finds what's wrong, it's like, so painful. Mm-hmm. Boy, am I making this sound attractive. And then he does all of his like energetic stuff with his hands, and it's different for every person. And sometimes he would just say to somebody like, I can't find anything wrong with you. Why are you here? What do you want? In his like broken English Balinese accent. And there might be one person. But when I brought my group, it was the whole group. And I've been going to him for years. I've seen him work on hundreds of people, because not only do I have my group, but then we have to sit through the dozens of people ahead of us. And he usually spends 20 minutes per person. So even though I booked an appointment at 9 a.m., and we got there at 8:45, there were still 3 people ahead of me, and I was like, argh! And each of them took there for an hour, and it's getting hotter, and I'm waiting for my women to get seen. And the reason it needed to be that way was so that they could see what it's normally like, because what it was for them, I've never seen before. My Balinese driver, who's also a priest, who has taken, you know, hundreds, if not more, of his clients to him, never saw it. None of the people there had ever seen a whole group where there was nothing wrong. And he couldn't figure it out. He was like, I've never had a group like this. What are you studying? What is this technology? And I was like, it's me. And I couldn't explain to him what I do, because I don't speak Balinese well enough, and he doesn't speak English well enough. But it was such a wild confirmation that this worked, because he's looking at physical ailments. I mean, his, you know, record of like healing things is really great, physical, but it's always, always, always connected to spiritual stuff and emotional stuff and head stuff. And everybody was just nothing to fix. So that was the funny, exciting story that made this retreat different.
And that's fabulous, because it's really showing you that the technology of what you're teaching, the spirit, the mind, the money, and how you can interweave all of this with love.
Yeah.
And when you are able to really open that door to feel that right in your core, then the rest of it starts healing on a deep cellular level.
Yeah. Do you mind if I for our viewers if I go into my process a little bit, because I really want them to, I really want everyone to take away something of value that you can start with today.
Absolutely.
So thank you. So this started at the beginning of 2003, back when nobody was speaking about relationship with money, and or if they were very different from this. I've kind of started a movement because I start to see things that sound more and more like my stuff out there. But at that time, there was nothing. And it came out of my own really spectacular financial failure, where even with an Ivy League education and half a dozen coaching certifications and celebrity clients and great, mile-long testimonials and the website and the branding and the tagline and all the classes, I was single-handedly able to repel money like you wouldn't believe, to the point where I was struggling to make $100 a month living in Los Angeles, where a studio apartment starts at like $1,200. So this was really frightening and devastating. And, I had vision boards and affirmations and affirmations and millionaire mindset and everything external, everything internal, and nothing was working. And this is what worked for me, and it happened accidentally, where I was in a really deep, dark place of despair, which, by the way, is very useful for the beginning of this process. So people with low vibrations who might get clobbered by the law of attraction police, you are welcome here. And it really came with, I call this process alchemy, because alchemy is the transmutation of lead, as in lead in human experiences, into spiritual gold and material gold. So what we want to do is, first we want to really dive in and see what isn't working. Because if you are repelling money, pushing money away, even though you're working hard and you're trying hard and you're doing everything right, it is not an accident. By the way, the same is true for love, weight loss, career promotion, whatever that dream is that you're doing, everything you're supposed to be doing and you're not getting the result, it is not an accident. You are subconsciously protecting yourself from what you think you want, and you always have very good reasons, far better than anything you can imagine. And the first thing to know is that, because I have a lot of friends and I see a lot of stuff on Facebook about change your money story and change your life. And I'm like, the money story is the symptom. It's not the cause. So you will find your root cause to your money limitations more easily and more effectively when you stop limiting your search to money and you start going into what money represents. This is where you're going to find your root cause. So it's going to be anything that has ever made you feel ashamed, not good enough, powerless, unsafe, unloved. Heartaches, betrayals, abuse when you were a child, or maybe by teachers or friends, divorces, accidents, illnesses, that is golden. That's the place to look. Anything that has ever made the world feel unsafe, unfair, or unloving, that is the real root cause of any issue that you're having with money today. And when you find where the most pain is, the most energy is, what you want to do is, step 2 is you're going to personify it. You want to personify it as a person and a being that is so repulsive and so offensive and so awful, terrifying, mean, hideous, that you are willing to get rid of it by any means necessary. And that's step 2. So step 1 is uncover the root cause. Step 2 is personify it. Step 3 is get rid of it. And then when all that is gone, a lifetime of heartache, and just blow it up in that money monster, then and only then can you have a good relationship with money? And that's the part people want to skip. I would skip too if my process worked without it. So when the monster is gone, then you have a vacuum. And now there's room for the opposite. All that's left is love. And now you get to meet your new money person, what I call the money honey. And this is a person who loves you more than anybody else in the world and sees your value and doesn't have any of your hang-ups around you or about money, because this person is money. And I call it money because money is that area of life that needs our healing and our love more than any other area of life. But I'm really talking about relationship with life. And when it becomes a person, now you get to have a conversation, and you can ask this person who loves you and wants to be with you what he or she needs to be with you, because you have the body, you have the power. Big distinction. And then, so step number 4 is meet your money honey. Step number 5 is dialogue with your money honey. And step number 6 is action, because action is magical. When you want real world, physical, tangible results, you want to take a real world, physical, tangible action. So you ask your money honey what he or she needs, so this person who loves you can stay with you. And you listen. And then you take one concrete, measurable action. So when your money honey says stuff like, I need you to love yourself, I need you to trust me, I need you to take better care of yourself, all of those are really good answers. Take them super seriously. Do your best. And I've never known anybody in the history of mankind who has been perfect at loving herself or taking care of herself all the time or trusting all the time. So we're going to make it easy. And while you strive to love yourself more, and the best way to do that is just to shut up and look at yourself through your money honey's eyes. But your action step is going to be something really simple and doable and finishable. So that if I were to ask you in 2 weeks, did you do it? You could tell me if you did or you didn't. And very often it makes no sense at all. And that's what's the most fun. Like when Lynn Swanson met her money honey, she was in horrible financial duress where she didn't have money to meet her payroll that month. And she wrote about it, and it's on my website, and she gave me permission to share it. And it's the greatest story because her money honey is dressed like John Travolta, and it's a lot of fun. But her money honey simply told her to transfer money from one bank account to another, which honestly wasn't going to do anything. But he was crystal clear, this is what I want you to do. So to prove to herself and her money honey that the relationship changed, she did it anyway. She did it that morning. And then on her way back to the office, she stopped to pick up some coffee for the people in her office. And she's standing in line looking at her smartphone the way we do now. And she saw that she had received an email that day from a client that they invoiced that day who was not due to pay for like another 60 days. And that client wrote that he was wiring the full amount that he owed, a big 5-figure amount, that's tens of thousands of dollars, that would cover all of her debts, cover her payroll, leave some money over. And she looked at the timestamp on her bank deposit and the timestamp on the email, and it was the difference of 2 minutes. So because I know we have very limited time, I just felt like I had to give one concrete example, but there are millions, well, not millions, that's totally inaccurate. There are many, many case studies at alchemysuccess.com for people who are curious and like to peek into other people's lives. There's really fun stories there.
Oh, that sounds really fun. And you have a free gift that you wanted to provide our audience with. And I know we have a limited amount of time. So could you tell us about your free gift and
Yes.
How can people access that?
Yes, it's a 4-part money magnetic video series that will walk you more deeply into my financial alchemy process, my money monster to money honey process. And also, especially on video number 3, so keep your eye out for that, it will go into some really deep, specific questions that come up all the time about charging, how to charge more when everybody in your field is charging, are racing to the bottom of the pay scale. Or what if you're on a prosperity path and your spouse is not, stuff, really specific questions. So, and post your feedback below, because I do respond, and I love, love, love to read what you discovered. So go to morganarae.com, spelled like my name, and I'm sure we'll have like a lower third or a link or something for you.
We will have a link to that.
Great. And that's my website, and you'll see at the top me on my back in my red dress with the money and the roses falling down. And just type in your name and your email address there. And no, I don't share it or sell it or anything disgusting like that. And it will send you one video a day for 4 days to get you started on creating your own new relationship with money. And then I invite you to, stay a while, check out the hundreds of articles and videos on my blog at morganarae.com. But to start, so that you don't get lost and confused in the wilderness, I just created this easy peasy 4-part money magnetic video series to start you on the path of transforming your money monster of scarcity into your money honey of love and abundance.
Wow, that is golden. Thank you, Morgana. I am so grateful that you have been on the Wealthy Wednesday show, and your beautiful 6 steps. Oof, that's powerful. So I appreciate it. Is there any last gems you would like to say to the audience before we say farewell?
Yeah. This is, I want to say just a little tiny thing about the money monster,
Okay.
which is my desire for you is for you to learn how to become the ultimate monster slayer whenever anything comes up in your life that kind of throws you off. Because what we're really talking about is relationship with life. So what's going to happen for you is you will be able to see how you're doing in your relationship with life based on how secure you're feeling with money. And by the way, that doesn't even have anything to do with how many dollars are in your account. When you feel secure and you have a great relationship with money, you can take a look at exactly the same circumstances and see the opportunity and be good to go. So my invitation to you is to see this as an opportunity for spiritual and personal growth. I believe the universe gets our attention through 3 teachers: money, love, and health. And if you are fortunate enough to have the money teacher, the good news is the money gets your attention faster than anything else. So you respond to it faster. So when it comes up, create a monster, slay it, meet your money honey, and find out what your next step is. And then let me know when something interesting happens.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It has been such an honor and a pleasure to having you on this show, and I appreciate it. So until next time, abundant blessings to you and abundant blessings to my audience.
Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Wealthy Wednesday show with Lucy McMonagle. That's on every Wednesday. Join us next time for more inspiration and empowerment from various topics and expert guests. To personally contact Lucy McMonagle, visit LucyMcMonagle.com. That's LucyMcMonagle.com. Until next time, many blessings.